Hello, everyone. I'm Lana. Thank you so much for joining me. President Biden is rolling out incentives to encourage Americans to get their coronavirus shots and meet his goal of having 70% of all adults partially vaccinated, at least by the 4th of July. On Wednesday, the president announced his administration is partnering with community and faith leaders and even celebrities to expand immunization efforts. Private businesses and states across the nation are also offering free drinks, cash, cars, and tickets to sporting events to those who get vaccinated. CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes kicks off our coverage.
That's right. Get a shot and have a beer.
A new sales pitch from the commander-in-chief tonight, advertising giveaways for those who get the shot, including cruises and Super Bowl tickets from CVS, and yes, free beers from Anheuser-Busch.
Let's grab a beer, America.
Major League Baseball is stepping up to the plate, too, offering free tickets for fans who get vaccinated at the game. The president is trying to meet a goal he set last month to get 70% of U.S. adults at least partially vaccinated by July 4th. 12 states have surpassed that goal, but overall, the nation sits at 63% as the daily vaccination rate falls.
And we're getting closer. We still have work to do.
So today, Mr. Biden announced that 4 of the nation's biggest daycare providers will offer free drop-in childcare for parents getting their shots. And some pharmacies will stay open all night on Fridays in June.
And if you're too busy at work or school, you can get vaccinated around the clock on any Friday. Any Friday.
States and cities are loading on the incentives, too.
First, I thought it was a scam.
In Maryland, Deidre Egan was the first person to get the call. She won $40,000.
I was like, whoa, let me pull over, you know.
We're going to give away $1 million to somebody.
In West Virginia, the governor is raffling off cash, trucks, and even firearms to those who get the shot.
We're going to give 5 custom hunting rifles and 5 custom hunting shotguns away on Father's Day.
Nancy Cordes joins me now from the White House. Nancy, always great to see you. So why is the White House making such a big push on vaccinations right now?
Well, because they know that the longer this goes on, the less incentive holdouts will feel to actually go ahead and get vaccinated. They see that the case counts are coming down, hospitalizations are coming down, so they might feel even less inclined to go ahead and get a vaccine when they feel less worried that they themselves are going to get sick. And so the White House feels that they've got to strike now at the start of the summer and argue to people that you are still at risk if you don't get vaccinated. And oh, by the way, here are a whole bunch of perks that you might be entitled to if you do go ahead and get the shot. You could win cash in a lottery. You could end up getting a free truck. You could get tickets to a baseball game. And they're really sort of ramping up their partnerships with private companies to try to get the word out to people that it really could be somewhat lucrative for them to go ahead and get vaccinated if they aren't already persuaded by their own personal health and the chances of getting seriously ill if they do actually contract coronavirus.
Yeah, I love the creativity that we've seen in some of these incentives, Nancy. I'm wondering, in addition to the incentives, how else is the administration actually working to address that core problem of vaccine hesitancy among people who remain unvaccinated?
Well, they're trying to address the various reasons for that hesitancy. So, for example, if someone hasn't gotten the shot because they're worried about missing work or they are worried about not having child care when they go to get vaccinated, the president announced, look, you can get free child care, free drop-in child care at any one of these daycare centers. You could go and get your shot late on a Friday night if you want, because there are all these pharmacies pharmacies that are going to be open round the clock on Friday nights for people who may feel that they have no other time to go ahead and get the shot. So they're looking to remove any possible logistical barrier to people for getting their shots. Uber and Lyft offering free rides to people who are going to get their vaccines, things like that. And then they're looking for creative ways to address reluctance, personal reluctance that people might feel for any number of reasons. So the president announced, for instance, that the vice president is going to be embarking on a southern tour because we know that vaccine hesitancy tends to be higher in the South. And he announced that barbershops are actually being enlisted to help get the word out about the vaccines and actually to become vaccine sites in some cases, something that they feel will be helpful in the African-American community. So those are the types of initiatives they're looking at. But frankly, the vaccination rate has been sort of drifting downward over the past couple of weeks. We're now at about a little over 500,000 people being vaccinated each day. And that rate would actually have to climb a little bit in order for the president to hit this goal of 70% of U.S. adults being at least partially vaccinated by July 4th. So White House does have its work cut out for it.
So within strike range, but still a bit ambitious. Let's change gears a little bit, Nancy, because we also heard the president being asked about Russia following another ransomware attack. How could this impact his upcoming summit with President Putin?
Well, you know, the White House keeps brushing off questions like that. And in fact, the president himself did at the end of his speech today, basically saying he didn't think that Vladimir Putin was testing him in any way. And, you know, the White House, whenever we ask them whether this incident or that incident might affect the upcoming summit, they usually just say, well, it's on the agenda to be discussed. But they are still moving full speed ahead to actually go ahead and hold that summit with President Putin in about 2 weeks.
I feel like anytime we talk, Nancy, we are also on infrastructure watch. And the president met with Republican Senator Shelley Moore Capito on Wednesday as these negotiations continue over his infrastructure proposal. What was the result of their meeting, and where do things stand in terms of reaching an actual bipartisan deal?
No big headlines out of the meeting. We were told that it was a good conversation, that it was a frank conversation, and that they're going to continue to talk and probably touch base again on Friday. The big challenge here, frankly, Lana, is that the two sides are still so incredibly far apart, not only on how big this infrastructure package should be and what it should entail, but also how you pay for it. And on that second front, it's really difficult to see how you square that circle. Sure, the White House could come down a bunch and Republicans could come up a bunch, and they could say, you know, we're gonna spend, let's say, $1.3 trillion on infrastructure. But when it comes to how to pay for that, Republicans have said that their line in the sand is raising corporate taxes, and the Biden administration has said that they believe that that is the best way to pay for infrastructure by inching up the corporate tax rate, which came down so sharply with the Trump tax bill of 2017. And so figuring out where the middle ground there is very difficult. But at least for now, the White House appears to be very open to continuing to try to find some kind of bipartisan compromise, if for no other reason that it does give them the chance at the end of the day, if they do go it alone, to be able to say, look, we tried as hard as we could to work something out with Republicans. It didn't work out, so now we're going to have to go another way.
Yeah. You know, Nancy, the president also appeared to call out some members of his own party during a speech Tuesday. Is there a sense in the White House that some Democratic senators aren't really in lockstep with Mr. Biden's agenda?
certainly there's a sense that those two Democratic senators are not always in lockstep with President Biden's agenda. And he didn't call them out by name, but it was clear to everyone that he was talking about Joe Manchin of West Virginia and Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona. Interestingly, the White House press secretary kind of tried to walk back those comments today, partly because what the president said isn't true. He said that there are these two Democratic senators who vote with Republicans more often than they vote with Democrats. That's just frankly not the case. They may not have, their agenda may not always square with the Biden agenda, but they are Democrats and they tend to vote with Democrats. And so what the White House press secretary said when asked about this today was that he wasn't saying that these two senators vote more often with Republicans. He was merely relaying what pundits say about them on television. But nevertheless, the reality remains that clearly he wanted to send a message to those two Democratic senators who are holdouts on a number of issues, including potentially on infrastructure, because they would really like to see a bipartisan deal. They've even offered praise for the Republican framework. And, you know, as we've discussed, there's still a big possibility that the White House may not be able to reach a bipartisan agreement. The White House would like to see them cheerleading for the White House plan. And so that was the president making that known yesterday. And then, of course, we saw the White House walking it back, because at the end of the day, they do need these two Democratic senators to be on their side. So it is a risky proposition when you start poking that bear.
A little bit of stick and then maybe a little bit of carrot. All right, Nancy, thank you.
You're welcome.